How do I think the pyramids were built? To be honest, I have no answer to that question. And anybody who tells you that he or she knows how the pyramids were built are not telling the truth, because we don't know. We don't know. The Great Pyramid contains a number of mysteries. The Great Pyramid, first of all, is very big. The Great Pyramid weighs 6 million tons. We can calculate that from its mass. It weighs 6 million tons. Its footprint is 13 acres. It's more than 750 feet along each side. It's 481 feet tall. More than 2.5 million individual blocks of stone.
How the pyramids was built has still remained a debate within the intellectual circles. Even the modern architects, and with all the sophisticated technology that is available to them, they are still unable to establish precisely the methodology and the technicality of how the pyramids of Egypt, of Africa, were constructed, were built to such a high level of precision. Though how it was built is still a debate, but certainly not who built the pyramid. Who built the pyramid? The people who built the pyramid is very obvious. The people that built the pyramids, they were Africans. They were the same people who lived in that region, who lived in that country, and whose images and pictures have been inscribed in the walls, in the internal walls of the pyramids. And the people that have been buried right there in the pyramids, they are the same people who built it. So it's not a matter of who built it, whether it was built by aliens. Funny enough, you can still find people who debate that the pyramid was built by some aliens. That is not true. The pyramid was built by the Africans living in that region. So it's not a matter of who built the pyramids. It's a matter of how was it built, because it has still remained a puzzle to the modern architectures and scientists, because they can't just figure out how it was built. And I am quite happy with this guy in admitting to the fact that he doesn't have any clue on how the pyramid was built, and that anyone who thinks that he knows how it was built, he doesn't think that the person is being honest, because they don't know how it was built. So I'm saying this because it takes us the sophistication of the thinking of the Africans. Africa is the cradle of civilization. Everything has begun from Africa. Most of the things that have been created, that have been built in the ancient Africa, talking about art, talking about architecture, talking about medicine, literally Africa has civilized the world, has civilized the Western world on two different occasions. I find it quite bizarre. I do not agree with the notion of that Africa was colonized by Westerners. Is something I think is totally untrue, because Africans were never colonized. What they actually called colonization is what I refer to as restitution. They just only brought back to Africa the civilizations and the knowledge that they were impacted to by the ancestors of Africa. Well, fine enough, I know that indeed and of a truth they have actually improved on that civilization. But I don't think that Africans, the black people, were ever colonized. Instead, they have colonized the Europeans on two separate occasions.
Really, really precise. the Great Pyramid is locked in to the cardinal dimensions of our planet. The Great Pyramid is targeted on true north within 3/60ths of a single degree. Now, no modern builder would create a large building and add onto his or her shoulders the additional burden of aligning it to true north within a fraction of a single degree. They just wouldn't get it. They wouldn't.
I think it's important that every African begin to do research to know for themselves the history of their ancestors, the history of the impact that they have made to the world civilization. The impact that Africa has made to the global civilization is unexplainable, is infinite. The history of Africa has been greatly mistold. And the projection, the image being projected by the mainstream media and by the historians, especially the Western historians, whom I considered are mostly ethnocentric, have greatly mistold the story and the history of Africa. And someone will say, why is it that the Asian civilization is still a matter of debate? How is it relevant today? Where, if you don't know, most of the premises upon which the modern civilizations and technology is still driving, it were created in the ancient time, and they've still remained relevant until this day. So it is a matter of necessity that we discuss this matter, that we discuss the history of Africa and what the Africans has done in a global civilization, in shaping the world. Are you talking about the medicine, the field of medicine, the field of architecture, the field of shipbuilding, the field of agriculture, the field of commerce, the field of metallurgy, the extraction of metal, the field of art, the fields of government, the fields of law? Every single thing you can ever think of have been built by the Africans. Please, I want you to find that out yourself.